If the GDP growth rate of 8.7% for FY 2021-22 made you happy, then hold your horses. Because this is just half the story. If you dig deep into the GDP figures, then you will find that we are just close to pre-COVID levels right now. Before we start our story, you should know that GDP is a parameter to assess the total economic activity of a country in a specific time period. In simple terms, if GDP is increasing, then it means that economic activity is increasing. On the other hand, if GDP declines, that means the consumption, expenditure and investment has declined. The previous year was the year of Covid. Economic activities were halted due to the lockdown, so the fall in GDP was quite obvious. In 2020-21, the total GDP was 135.5 lakh crore rupees. This GDP was the reason why we got 8.7% growth this year. The real picture of GDP can be gauged after comparing the numbers with 2019-20 figures, because that would compare apple to apple. In FY 2019-20, the total GDP of the country was 145.15 lakh crore rupees, while total GDP in 2021-22 was just 147.35 lakh crore rupees. That's just a marginal increase of 1.5%. In GDP, 57% contribution is of private consumption, which is the expenditure done by the general public. Here also, the picture is not that great. In 2021-22, we spent a total of 83.77 lakh crore rupees, which is just 1.4% higher than 82.69 lakh crore rupees, the consumption figure for 2019-20. Now let us talk about the different economic activities. Agriculture and financial services were two areas that were not impacted much by COVID. Here, in the previous year, the growth was 3.3% and 2.2% respectively. Besides this, mining, manufacturing, construction, hotel, transport, communication and other services were severely impacted by COVID. If we exclude hotel, transport and communication, then in the rest of the sectors, the situation is somewhat better than 2019-20. So the conclusion is that we have just gotten out of the pit we fell in due to COVID. Now from here, we have to move ahead.